Welcome to the European Association for Higher Education Advancement's YouTube and podcast channel. Get ready for a deep dive into blended learning.
Okay.
You've sent over some really interesting articles on the topic.
Yeah.
And we're going to unpack them together and see if it really is the future of education.
It's definitely a hot topic right now
But-
in education circles.
So to make sure we're all starting on the same page, can you quickly define blended learning for us?
Absolutely. Blended learning combines online and face-to-face instruction, aiming to leverage the strengths of both approaches.
Got it. So it's not just about replacing teachers with computers,
Okay.
but finding a smart mix.
Right.
Now, the European Association for Higher Education Advancement, EAHEA, seems to be a big proponent of blended learning. What's got them so excited?
They've outlined 6 key benefits that really stand out. First, they believe it has a potential to significantly improve pedagogy, meaning the methods and strategies we use to teach.
Interesting. So how does mixing online and in-person learning actually make teaching better?
Think of it this way. Traditional lectures, while still having their place, often don't fully engage students or cater to different learning styles. Blended learning allows for more active, student-centered approaches. Instead of passively listening to a lecture for an hour, students can engage in online discussions, simulations, or even collaborate on projects virtually, all while still having the benefits of in-person interaction and guidance.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's about using technology to create more dynamic and engaging learning experiences. What are some of the other benefits that EA highlights?
Well, you touched on one earlier, engagement. They argue that by incorporating interactive elements like games and multimedia content, learning becomes more fun and engaging for students.
Yeah, it definitely sounds more appealing than the dusty textbooks I grew up with. I remember how captivating picture books were as a kid.
Yeah.
Are they suggesting we use the same kind of visually appealing approach for older students too?
Exactly. Engaging visuals and interactive content can make learning more stimulating and enjoyable for learners of all ages. It's about tapping into how today's students, who are often digital natives, learn best.
So it's not just about entertainment. It's about aligning teaching methods with how students naturally learn.
Right.
That's pretty smart. What about cost effectiveness? I know textbooks can be a huge expense for students.
That's another key benefit. EAHEA highlights the potential of blended learning to reduce costs by replacing expensive textbooks with online resources.
That's a win for students' wallets and the environment. Does the EAHEA talk about how this connects to their overall mission?
They do. It ties in perfectly with their mission of advancing higher education globally. Making educational resources more accessible and affordable is crucial for reaching students around the world, especially in areas where traditional learning materials might be limited.
That's a fantastic point. So blended learning could really play a role in democratizing education. Now, EAA also mentioned improved feedback as a benefit. How does blended learning change the way feedback is given?
Traditional feedback mechanisms, like waiting weeks for a graded exam, can be slow and not always helpful for students who need to course correct quickly. With blended learning, online assessments and tools can provide more immediate and personalized feedback.
So a student could take a quick online quiz and get instant feedback on what they need to work on.
Exactly. And instructors can track student progress in real time, allowing them to tailor their teaching and provide more targeted support. It creates a much more responsive and dynamic feedback loop.
That sounds much more effective.
Yeah.
And probably less stressful for students too.
Definitely.
Okay, the last benefit EEA mentioned was catering to diverse learners. I'm really curious to hear more about how blended learning addresses the needs of different students.
It's all about recognizing that students learn at different paces and in different ways. Some students might grasp concepts quickly through visual aids, while others might benefit from auditory explanations or hands-on activities.
So how does blended learning actually accommodate those different preferences?
Blended learning offers the flexibility to present information in a variety of formats, whether it's through videos, audio recordings, interactive simulations, or even good old-fashioned text.
Oh.
This buffet approach allows students to engage with material in ways that resonate with their individual learning styles.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like creating a personalized learning path for each student. Are there any specific examples of how this works in practice?
Think about adaptive learning platforms, for example. These platforms can adjust to each student's pace and provide additional support where needed.
Okay.
Let's say a student is struggling with a particular math concept. An adaptive learning platform might offer additional practice problems or even adjust the difficulty level to ensure they're mastering the material before moving on.
That's pretty incredible. It sounds like blended learning could really level the playing field for students who might struggle in a traditional classroom setting.
Absolutely. By offering a more personalized and flexible approach, blended learning can empower all students to succeed, regardless of their background or learning style.
Now, while all of these benefits sound fantastic, I have to ask,
Sure.
are there any potential downsides to blended learning that we should consider?
You're right to raise that question. While blended learning holds tremendous promise, it's not a silver bullet, and there are some challenges to keep in mind.
Like what?
One of the biggest challenges is ensuring equitable access to technology and reliable internet. Not all students have the same resources at home,
Right.
and that digital divide can create a barrier to success. It's crucial for institutions to address this issue and ensure all students have the necessary tools and support to participate fully in a blended learning environment.
That's a really important point. And what about the social aspect of learning? I imagine there's a risk of students feeling isolated if we shift too much online.
That's a valid concern, and it highlights the importance of striking the right balance between online and in-person interaction. Blended learning should complement, not replace, face-to-face learning. Group projects, in-person discussions, and collaborative activities remain crucial for building social skills and fostering a sense of community.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where technology enhances rather than hinders the learning experience.
Precisely. And we also have to acknowledge that there will be a learning curve for instructors.
Yeah,
Not all teachers are tech savvy, and some might be resistant to change.
that makes sense. How can we address that challenge?
Professional development and ongoing support for teachers are absolutely essential. We need to equip educators with the skills and confidence to effectively integrate technology into their teaching practices. It's also important to create a culture of collaboration where teachers can share best practices and learn from each other's experiences.
So it's about creating a supportive environment for both students and teachers as we navigate this new landscape of blended learning.
Exactly. It's a collective effort, and it requires a shift in mindset for everyone involved.
Okay, so taking all of this into account, is blended learning truly the future of education?
While it's impossible to predict the future with certainty, I believe blended learning is a powerful force shaping the future of how we learn. It has the potential to make education more accessible, more engaging, and more personalized. But it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. The key is to approach it thoughtfully, addressing the potential challenges and tailoring it to the specific needs of each learning environment.
It's about finding the right blend right. No pun intended.
You got it. It's about finding the blend that optimizes learning for all students.
Now, for our listener who might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how can I actually apply these ideas? What advice would you give them?
The first step is to start exploring the resources available. The EAHEA website is a great starting point. They have a wealth of information on blended learning models, best practices, and case studies.
And they have a fantastic YouTube and podcast channel.
Indeed. And don't underestimate the power of connecting with other educators who are already incorporating blended learning into their classrooms. Networking and sharing ideas can be incredibly valuable.
Learning from each other's experiences is so important. Any other advice for someone just starting out?
Don't be afraid to experiment. Start small. See what works for you and your students, and gradually build from there. It's a process of continuous improvement.
And it's okay to ask for help along the way.
Right.
There are so many supportive communities and resources out there.
That's a great point. Organizations like EEA offer workshops, webinars, and even certification programs for educators who want to dive deeper into blended learning.
So they're really putting their money where their mouth is, so to speak. They're not just advocating for blended learning. They're actively supporting educators and making it a reality.
Exactly. They're committed to providing the resources and support educators need to be successful.
We've covered so much ground today. What stands out to you as the most compelling aspect of blended learning? What really gets you excited about it?
For me, it's the potential to personalize the learning experience in a way that we've never been able to before. We've talked about catering to different learning styles, providing immediate feedback, and offering flexibility in terms of pacing and how content is delivered. Blended learning gives us the tools to move away from a one-size-fits-all approach and create truly individualized learning environments.
I love that. It's about empowering each student to reach their full potential by meeting them where they are.
Precisely.
So to wrap things up, let's bring it back to you, the listener. Would you have been more engaged in school if blended learning had been an option? And how do you think it will change the future of higher education? Think about those questions for a moment. It's fascinating to consider how this approach might transform the learning landscape.
I know I would have thrived in a blended learning environment. I was always that student who loved to explore topics in depth. And blended learning would have given me the freedom to do that at my own pace and in ways that resonated with me. As for the future of higher education, I think blended learning has the potential to make it more accessible, more engaging, and more relevant to the needs of today's students. It's an exciting time to be involved in education.
I couldn't agree more. A huge thank you to the European Association for Higher Education Advancement for sparking this insightful conversation.
It's been a pleasure diving into this topic with you.
And to our listener, we hope this deep dive has left you feeling informed and inspired about the possibilities of blended learning. If you're eager to learn more, be sure to check out the European Association for Higher Education Advancement on YouTube and social media. They have a wealth of resources to help you explore this fascinating approach to education. Please don't forget to follow the European Association for Higher Education Advancement on YouTube and social media.